Hi, I'm Lisa Anderson, President of LMA Consulting Group and host of Supply Chain Chats. I'm here to talk with you today about what's going on in the global supply chain and what we should be doing about it. So let's start with Panama. Panama has been experiencing a drought for the last year. Why is that important? It's because the Panama Canal is a critical waterway in the global supply chain and has become a supply chain choke point. So because of the drought conditions, they have had to drastically reduce the capacity in the Panama Canal, letting fewer ships go through and delaying, having ships experience delays. Now, why does this matter? If we use the East Coast of the US as an example, 40% of the product produced in Northeast Asia flows through the Panama Canal to the eastern coast of the US. So if 50% of that capacity has been reduced, you can understand why this is a critical choke point. So what did they do? The container ship companies diverted product through the Suez Canal and the Red Sea. So meaning they go from Asia through the Red Sea and the Suez Canal to the east coast of the US. Of course, they also use the Suez Canal to go from Asia to Europe. Unfortunately, the Israel-Hamas war broke out, and the Iranian-backed Houthi rebels have been attacking the ships in the Suez Canal. Recently, the first container ship sunk in the Suez Canal. So because of safety and security concerns, the ships are being diverted around the southern tip of Africa, which adds 10 days and 1,900 nautical miles to the trip around that southern tip of Africa. That's adding significant time and cost to the supply chain. There's definite inflationary pressures because you need to have the ships on the sea for much longer, requiring additional container ships, requiring additional people, and requiring additional energy, as an example. So what did we do? Plan C. So we went from the Panama Canal to the Suez Canal, and now Plan C is from Asia to the western coast of the US, and then send the product via rail or over the road in trucks to the east coast of the US. And that has been a good backup, and that avenue has been increasing in volume in the recent days. So is a backup enough? No, by no means is a backup enough. Although you should have one, or you'd really be in trouble, it is no longer enough. There are geopolitical pressures throughout the world, from the Russia-Ukraine war to the tensions between China and Taiwan. It's particularly concerning because Taiwan produces 90% of the advanced computer chips for the world, and that could provide a definite choke point to the supply chain if there was problems that broke out between China and Taiwan. So instead, what companies are doing is they're looking at regional manufacturing. So producing in North America for North America, producing in Asia for Asia. That involves reshoring, nearshoring, and expanding manufacturing capabilities. So if you look at today's supply chain, there's technological advances between robotics, automation, 3D printing, advanced additive manufacturing, AI, and a slew of other technologies. It basically means that the cost of labor as a percentage of the total product cost has gone down pretty dramatically. And so it really is not as relevant as it was when we outsourced everything, as an example, to China to get the lower labor rates. So for non-commodity products, we are by all means looking at reshoring. So if we look at the medical industry as an example, we're reshoring production to Minnesota because there is a hub of medical device production in Minnesota. Of course, they're reshoring to other places as well, but that's one hotbed. In addition, we are nearshoring production to Mexico. Mexico and the US have scale, which is really quite important because we have to be able to supply all of the customer requirements. And so Mexico has medical device hubs, and actually the cost of labor in Mexico is less than the cost it is in China at this current time. So that's a viable option. There are also options in Costa Rica. There's a medical device hub and computer chip production in Costa Rica. In Puerto Rico, there's pharmaceutical products. And in the Dominican Republic, there's also medical device production. So you should be looking at what are my supply chain networks look like? Do I have the resources, the natural energy, natural resources, water? Who owns the ports and terminals? And how will I make sure that I set my supply chain up for the future, given what we know about our future today and our customer requirements? Another thing you can be doing is utilizing a SIOP process, that's sales inventory operations planning, so that you can look at and evaluate your manufacturing capacities, your supply chain capacities versus your needs and your requirements. And how do you best allocate that from a customer and product profitability point of view, and to make sure that you're satisfying your growth plans and your profitability plans. So to learn more about that, go to LMA-Consulting Group /SIOP, SIOP, to learn more and join us for our next supply chain chats.